All right. All right. Good day, everyone. And welcome to today's session sponsored by Truly Foundation as we review another workbook lesson in our guide called A Course in Miracles. My name is Oliver Blue, and I am your temporary guide, your host, your coach. I am your pointer, and I point you back to yourself, not back to your bodily self, but back to your essential nature, back to your essence. I point you back to your place as not an effect, but as a cause, as being one with your Creator. And that is a beautiful thing, to know that one is joined with the absolute ultimate in truth and reality, the absolute ultimate in knowledge under the one law, which we call the law of love or the law of God. And that which we are a part of is unalterable, meaning it is incapable of being altered. Who you really are as one with God, you are incapable of being altered, even by this earthly experience. And the grand thing is that you are eternal. Part of that which is eternal, that which has always been, that which will always be. Your existence can't be found in heaven or in earth because you've always been a part of that one reality. We point you back to the changelessness of your true nature. That which we are pointing you to can be unrecognized if we fall asleep and dream of being separate. We can be in a state of sleep where we don't recognize our reality and we make up another reality. But it cannot be changed. It can be unrecognized but not changed. A lot of times we're in a state of unrecognition where we don't even recognize our true self. And we go on a journey to make something else. But even in all of that energy and effort, it doesn't change anything. You are who you are by the grace of God. I point you to that which is everything that God created. And only God and love creates reality. And so your reality is in God. The scripture says that our very life is in Christ, or in I am, or in our Creator. And what I point you to is beyond what can be learned. It's beyond learning. It's like trying to describe love or describe God. It's impossible. We can name some attributes, but to give a full out description, words cannot describe the boundlessness of that which is the source of all things. What I point you to this morning is beyond time and space. Who we are had its origin, and its origin cannot be found. So there is really no beginning and no ending to us. But it is beyond time and space. It's beyond the idea of birth and death. It has no opposites. What you are, there is no opposite to you. What you are a part of, there's no opposite to God. So there's no opposite to you. And we can sum all of this up by saying that what you are, what God is, merely is. It just is. I heard one guru say that it is our isness. It's as close as we can get to it. It's isness. We just is. We merely is. And that will never change. You will always be aware. You will always be conscious. You will always be discovering the unlimited self that you are. The creation continues to what? Expand. There is a never ending expansion about you and about me because God is never ending. And so that's a good description. That's a good way to start our day. That is the breakfast of champions, when we confirm and declare and acknowledge the reality of who we really are, not only in, but as the ultimate, the absolute, the reality that we call God. And so today we're going to be on day 6 of our review sessions, and going to be on workbook lesson 206, which is a review of workbook lesson 186. And as we have started each one of these review lessons, the central theme here, the thing that we really want to hone in on and bring home to our awareness, the one thing that we want to, the one idea that helps us to let go of all illusions that we've had of ourselves, to release ourselves from the prisons that we have built within our own thinking, within our own mind, to help us to move closer to the place where there is no blocks in our awareness. There is no blocks to the awareness of love and the awareness of the fact that we are one with pure presence. To remove every block of guilt and shame and doubt and fear. To remove every obstacle that we're placed in our own way. And so this central theme is the same as it has been. And that is that I am starts out with I am. Anytime a statement starts with I am, it is a recognition of that instant, that present moment, that presence that blocks out all other possibilities of a past or a future. It affirms that only this present moment is real. So I am acknowledges this present moment. So what we're saying is we're saying in this present moment. It doesn't matter what has happened in the past. It doesn't matter the fact that we cannot live forward. It's impossible to live forward. We can only live in the present moment. I am is an acknowledgement that I am in this present moment. And I am not a body. Even though in this present moment, I am aware of a body. I'm aware of a personal history. I'm aware of a birth date. I'm aware of events and activities and sensations in the body. I'm aware of relationships that the body has with other bodies. I'm aware of the dimensions, the measurability of a body. I'm aware of the limitation of a body. I'm aware of the labels that have been placed on a body. Even though I'm aware of all these things, I affirm and I still understand that I am not this body that I'm aware of. That is not who I am. That is what I am aware of, that is available for me to express something, because that body merely is symbolic of a communication device. It's basically symbolic of a of an instrument that can be used in this third dimensional plane to communicate to other bodies, to communicate uh, a a purposeful message to this time and space continuum that we have an awareness that we have access to. And so I'm not that body. I'm aware of one, but that's not who I am. That's why I can stand outside of the body and observe the body. Who is that observes the body? Who's that is aware that there is a body? Who is that? What is that? Could that be you in reality? The mere fact that you can you can you can have a thought or an idea that transcend the body is an indication that I'm not that body. And so when we embrace that reality that we are aware of, but we're not that, it says the result of that is I am presently free. I am not a body. I am free. What is freedom? What does it mean? What does that bring about to be free? It brings about an unlimited, it brings about a boundless, it brings about an infinite state of being, whereby we are able to transcend all form, all time, all space. We're able to transcend all personal history, all historical history. We're able to transcend all labels, all blocks. We're able to transcend all that has been made in a temporary form. That's what freedom means. That we're not bound by the form. That we're not bound by the limitation of the form. We're not bound by the thoughts of the form. But we are free, and free indeed. That there's nothing in this world that can limit us in our imagination. There's nothing that can limit you in your awareness, in your insight, there's nothing that can limit you in your perception. There's nothing that can limit you in your intuition. There's nothing that can limit you in your consciousness. And so, I am not a body. I am free. For I am, again, in this present moment, I am still. It is in stillness. It is in this stillness that there is certainty. It's in this stillness that the truth prevails. I am still as God, or as God. I am still as God. See, you are still as love. You are still as reality. You are still as the absolute source. You are still as God, as life. You are still as reality. Extended you, or created you. Remember the example of extension. There's only the one. The one extends itself. What's in its original is in its extension. There's no difference. So you are as God. I am as God. That's what it says. I am as God. I am still as God. I am in stillness as God created me. And so let me read the whole statement now. This is our foundational statement. It says, I am not a body. I am free. For I am still as God created me. That is our central theme throughout this 20-day review lesson. And this is so important. This reality, this truth This idea, this God idea, is so important for us to embrace as ourselves, because that is at the root of all suffering. That is at the root of all pain and anguish, is the belief that we are limited, that we are this physical, we are this physical body, which is merely in its substance is no more than the earth. It's no more than dust and bones and sinew, and all of it is physical. All of it is temporary, and it all goes back to its original. That's why they say ashes to ashes and dust to dust, because that's what it is. It is not who you are. No wonder there are so many depressed people in the world. No wonder there are so many fearful people in the world, because they believe in body identification. They believe that they are the totality of who they are is birth to death, and that's it. That is very depressing. It was to me for a long time. I didn't understand life. Why is this all it is to life, to be born and to die? And to be in this frail body that it is needy. The most needy device on the planet is the body. It needs care all the time, 24 hours. You have one, you have an awareness of one. You don't have one, but you have the awareness of one. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Every hour, every minute of the hour, it has to be cared for, washed, cleaned, fed, protected, pampered. It's a needy machine. And how can that which is perfect create something that is imperfect? It's not possible. That's because that which is perfect didn't create. This is what is imperfect. The body is an idea that came from the ego thought system of separation. Actually, the Course said the body was made as an attack on God to try to prove that division and separation and multiplicity is reality and not oneness. Think about that one. That's a whole series in itself, and I'm going to do a series on that one day to talk about how humanity listened to the voice of the ego and created a world and create bodies to put in a world to hide from God, to go to a place where God could not get to. God being timeless and formless, how could he get to time and form? But what it didn't bargain on was that which was made in this erroneous thought system called the ego thought system. The memory of God went into that which was made. Just the memory of God is enough to bring us out of this state of sleep, this state of being prodigal, this state of being delusional and illusional. Just one thought from God. That's how powerful truth is. It only takes one thought, one remembrance. That's why Jesus said to his 12 that he was mentoring, that he was coaching, that he was guiding, that he was pointing. He says, do this in remembrance of me. And he wasn't talking about him as a personal self. He was talking about what he represented. He represented the oneness that we share. And he says, so do this one to another in remembrance of the oneness that we share. And what were they doing to one another? They were loving one another. They were servicing one another. And so here I am today, sitting here on this September day in 2022, doing this in remembrance of the truth. What am I doing? I'm servicing my fellow brothers. I'm being of service to humanity by being a reminder of who we are, by being, like Jesus said, we are the light of the world, by being a light into the world that has a myopic, that has this um, low self-esteem, that has this myopic view of itself. But I'm being of service to remind you that is not who you are. You're not chopped liver. You're not born to die. In fact, you're not born and you do not even die. But who you are is eternal. Who you are is the source, a part of the source of the one being that we all share. And that your life fully transcends time and space. This world is not your home. That we remain as God created us, like it says here. I am not a body. I am not limited. I am not conformed. I am not born to die. I am not a bag of bones or dust. I'm not this fearful thing. I'm not standing on an island by myself as though it appears. I'm not separate from every other body. But I'm here to remind you that you are the very essence, the very nature of the one life, the one breath, the one being that we all share. And so God is not dead, and neither are you. So I remind you of that this morning. I'm reminding myself, because there's only one of us. To remind you is to remind myself, because you and I are one. I and you and me, we're one. What's in the vine is in the branch. What's in the branch is in the trunk. It's all one life. It's all one love. It's all one being. So what this world communicates to us is something that is falling apart. It's something that is deteriorating. It is a false message. It's not the truth. So I'm here as a reminder to point you to the truth of who you are. To remind you that God has reconciled all of these false ideas back into himself and has consumed the darkness. The darkness no longer appear. There's nothing but light. Can you see the light? We can see clearly now. We can wake up to clarity and see clearly now, because the rain has gone. The rain of darkness, the rain of false belief and separation, the rain of the ego is gone. So we can see clearly now that the rain has gone. And so the workbook lesson 186, which is what we're reviewing today, that idea, as we studied back a few weeks ago, that idea said this. It said, salvation of the world depends on me. Salvation of the world. What is the world? The world is a false idea about who we are. So the salvation of that false idea depends on me. Embracing it, number one, for myself. Embracing the truth of who I am for myself. And then extending or sharing it with others. So God has given us an important role in his plan for the salvation or the restoration or the awakening or the awareness of that which is true always. We are a part, not only a part of the truth, but we've been given a role within that truth in this instant moment. And so it says, salvation of the world depends on me. And remember, salvation simply means letting go of every false perception of yourself and of others and of your Creator, and embracing wholeheartedly, sincerely, and with all honesty, like we said in the last workbook lesson. Embracing the reality of your oneness with every living thing, and denouncing separation and division. That's where it comes. That's what salvation is. It is a release of that which is false, and it's an embrace of that which is the truth, that is true always. And so that salvation depends on you. Your experience of it depends on you. Now, God guarantees it, but God also involves you in your waking up to your reality. It's not that it's just going to be hocus pocus. No. Just like a child has to wake up out of a dream without you going and shaking them to misery, to smithery. But just like a child naturally wakes up from a nightmare or a dream, we wake up from the dream of separation. And so it says, I am entrusted with the gifts of God. What are the gifts of God? Every thought of God, every idea of God, those are gifts. He says, so we are all have been entrusted with those gifts equally. In other words, in creation, we all receive the same gift. All of us, we receive God's nature. We receive God's essence. We are what God is. We all have that within us. That's why God entrusts them with us, because he knows the capacity that was given unto us at creation. So I am entrusted with the gifts of God because I am his creation. Remember, I am presently now his creation, and I remain his creation. I remain as God created me. I'm not a body. I am free. I remain free. Free to be the godliness that I am. It cannot really be imprisoned. We can just fall asleep to it, but it cannot be imprisoned. It says, and I will give the same gifts where he intended them to be. Where did God intended all his gifts to be? In everyone. So for those that have forgotten the gift, for those who have forgotten who they are, we are here to extend the gift to everyone. And that's why, and forgiveness is so important on this plane that we find ourselves in this human dimension, in this human interaction. Forgiveness is the greatest gift of all, because what forgiveness does is that it corrects the error in our thinking. It not only corrects the error in our thinking, but it corrects the error in the one that we extend forgiveness to in their thinking. It removes all guilt. It removes all judgment. It removes all idea of separation. Forgiveness does that. We forgive one idea for another. We release the ego's idea and we embrace the idea of love, to the point where forgiveness says what we thought occurred did not even occur. What occurs in dreams are not real. And so we let the world go free. That's what it says here. Salvation of the world depends on us to let it go free. To let that which seems to be contained and imprisoned to be released from all imprisonment, from all entanglement, from all judgment. What a wonderful gift to give to another. What a wonderful gift to give to all living things, that you are free. You're not embodied. You're not entrapped in a body or in form, but you're free, and free indeed. What a gift. What a gift to give to your mate, your child, your extended family, to your friends, to your co-workers, to your neighbors. What a gift to give to all humanity. What a gift to say you are free, and free indeed. There is no grievance that I hold. There is no judgment that I can render other than the fact that you are free indeed. What a gift. Oh my goodness. I am not a body. I am indeed free. Free to love, free to be happy, free to expand and to grow and to prosper, free to express my true nature, my true essence, free to enjoy, free to give wholeheartedly, free to forgive, free to listen, free to have compassion, free to be the full expression of the essence and the nature of God, which I am. This is the role that's been given us, and not only given us, but the means by which to express and to fulfill our role has been given us also. Most of us haven't lived 2% of our potential. Most of us haven't opened up enough to express the love that we share, the gifts that we share. Most of us have not really experienced what it is to walk in innocence, because we have confined ourselves to judgment and to guilt. Most of us are still in pain over broken relationships, over things that didn't work out, in pain over our history, in pain over so many things that this world continue to communicate back to us that say it's not fair, it's not right. And so we are really entangled with the ego thought system to where we don't see the purpose of life and haven't really enjoyed the awesome assignment that we have been given. And we've been given an awesome assignment. If I look back on workbook lesson 186, there's a few things here. It says, and so we find our peace. And so we discover our peace. We talked about peace yesterday when we said, well, I want the peace of God. And we said that anyone that says it and mean it, they discover it. It comes through honesty and sincerity. It says, and so we find our peace. It says, we will accept the function God has given us. For all illusions rest upon the weird belief that we can make another for ourselves, that we can make something other than what God made or created. It says, our self-made roles are shifting, and they seem to change from mourner to ecstatic bliss of love. And they seem to change from mourner to ecstatic bliss of love and loving. We can laugh or weep, greet the day with welcome, or we can greet it with tears. Our very being seems to change as we experience 1,000 shifts in moods, and our emotion rises us high indeed, or dashes us to the ground of hopelessness. This is what the self-made self does to us. It's like a yo-yo. We're up one moment, down the other. There's no stability in that. It says, is this the Son of God? Is this what God made? Could God have created such instability and call it his creation? Absolutely not. He who is changeless shares his attributes with his creation. God is changeless, and so are we. So this instability that we experience and the awareness of a body, that is not us. That's just an experience we're having based on the way we are thinking, based on our perceptions about ourselves. And the images that his creation appears to make have no effect on what he is. These experiences that we're having, this human experience, has no effect on our identity. It's just the experience that we have chose to have. That's all it is. And it's short-lived. It's shortly experienced. And all the images that we appear to make have no effect on what we are. They blow across our mind like wind-swept leaves that form a pattering an instant. Then it breaks apart to groups again and scamper off, or like mirages seen above a desert, rising from the dust. As an illusion, it's not real. It says these unsubstantial images will go and leave your mind unclouded and serene when you accept the function given you. The images you make give rise to but conflicting goals, impermanent and vague, uncertain and ambiguous. Who could be constant in his efforts or direct his energies and concentrate direct towards goals like these? The functions which the world esteems are so uncertain that they change 10 times an hour at their most secure. What hope of gain can rest on goals like this? But in contrast to that, what I just described, in lovely contrast, certain as the sun returns each morning to dispel the night, your truly given function stands out clear and wholly unambiguous. There is no doubt of its validity. It comes from the one who knows no error, and his voice is certain of its messages. They will not change nor be in conflict. All of them points to one goal and one you can obtain. Your plan may be impossible, but God's can never fail because he is the source of his plan. And you have been given a vital role in God's plan. And so do as God's voice directs. And if it asks a thing of you, which seems impossible, remember who it is that asks of you and who would make denial. Then consider this, which is more likely to be right, the voice that speaks for the creator of all things, who knows all things exactly as they are, or a distorted image of yourself, confused, bewildered, inconsistent, and unsure of everything. Let not its voice direct you. That's the ego's voice. It says, hear instead a certain voice which tells you of a function given you by your creator, who remembers you and urges that you now remember him or her or it. So it's all about the remembrance. When we remember who we are, he says his gentle voice is calling. from the known to the unknowing. He will comfort you, although he knows no sorrow. He will make a restitution, though he is complete, a gift to you, although he knows that you have everything already. He has thoughts which answers every need that you perceive, although he sees them not. For love must give, and what is given in his name takes on the form most useful in the world of form. And then in the conclusion, it says, these are the forms which never can deceive because they come from formlessness itself. Forgiveness is a form. It is an earthly form of love, which as it is in heaven has no form, yet what is needed here is given here as it is needed. Forgiveness of the world and for everything in the world is what's needed. It's the most precious gift on earth. In this form, you can fulfill your function even here, although what love will mean to you when formlessness has been restored to you is greater still. Salvation of the world depends on you, who can forgive. Such is your function here. Forgiveness. Forgiveness. And so to wrap this up, I am not a body. I am free. I am still as God created me. Salvation of the world depends on me. I am entrusted with the gifts of God because I am his creation, and I will give his gifts where God intended them to be. I am not a body. I am free. Free to forgive, free to love. For I am still as God created me. Thank you so much. This is a beautiful lesson. We have a function that we didn't give ourselves, but God gave it to us. And not only the function, but the wherewithal, the means by which to 1,000% to fulfill our function. And so we forgive ourselves. We forgive all humanity. We forgive the idea of separation, the dream and the dreamer. And we see ourselves where we have never left, back in the heart of a loving Father. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Think on these things, and the peace that passes understanding will guard your heart and your mind. And so it is. All right. Bye-bye.